Hey everybody, Matt Maynard here with another helpful video, and today I'm going to be talking about the 5 strategies that highly effective parents use. And the first one is all about building rapport. Really highly effective parents focus on being able to build that attunement and build rapport with their kids exclusively on their kids' terms. They don't try to find ways that they can have mutual interests. They really are more about meeting the child where they're at and engaging in activities that they actually care about exclusively. It gives the kids the opportunity to kind of be the leader in the dynamic, which is hopefully rare in your case, in your family, and it allows the child to talk about and show engagement with you on their terms, which allows them to have some level of autonomy and control, which a lot of kids really crave. The second thing highly effective parents do is they focus more on teaching or instilling appropriate behaviors and responses instead of always talking about what they don't want the child to do. The analogy that I give a lot of parents is you don't go to a restaurant and tell the waiter or waitress what you don't want for dinner. Right? Instead, you want to actually start talking to your kids about what is the appropriate response that you would like to see from them in order for them to start to understand that that is going to be what's going to get them ultimately more privileges, more freedom, and more fun from you, hopefully. The third one is they use consequences not to be punitive and punish the child. Punishment is personal, right? So it's the parent getting back at the child for something that they did to the parent, which is totally crazy because kids really are just operating and instinctually doing things out of self-preservation and out of their own emotional drives, right? So it really has very little to do with you, but a lot of parents take things personally, and I totally get when you're in the moment of frustration and complete aggravation because your kid won't listen to you, it totally makes sense. However, what highly effective parents do is they focus on using consequences to actually ask and use the attention that they can actually get from their kid, because unless you have your kid's attention, which is rare, you're not going to be able to get engagement. And so they'll use what I call emotionally reflective questions in order to start to understand what the child's feeling or what they're going through that could have actually prompted some inappropriate behavior. And then they focus, like I said, on the last kind of highly effective strategy, that they focus on really being able to instill that appropriate behavior. So that creates reflection instead of punishment and pain. The fourth one is they allow their kids to actually embrace and tolerate failure and pain, right? This is incredibly important in the adult world because, in my professional opinion, the majority of the adult days that the average person has is they're constantly managing disappointment and having to overcome that and just move on. And that is a very incredibly important skill for kids to develop resilience and grit and drive and perseverance, and also the most important thing that all parents want, which is self-esteem, right? If your kid does not experience or have to tolerate any level of prolonged discomfort or pain and actually be able to understand that that's going to be a natural and organic part of life, they're going to have a bad time. And not only that, you're going to have a bad time because now you're always going to be trying to accommodate them and trying to buffer or cushion whatever the hard problem is or the reality is that, quite honestly, they may need to come to terms with. And lastly, the most important one that highly effective parents use is they know how to establish both physical and emotional boundaries with their child, right? So maybe there's certain aspects of the family home that are off limits to the child because it could be your bedroom, right? They actually have firm boundaries and expectations around knocking before they come in, and they actually need to be welcomed into your bedroom. Right? The other thing is that just because the child is having a heightened emotion, the parent is able to maintain some level of emotional integrity with themselves. So they're not always emotionally reacting and responding and meeting the child on those same emotional terms, right? So they're able to differentiate themselves, that's the family therapy term, from the child emotionally and continue to not always take the child's emotions at face value. So they implement those not only just physical boundaries, but also the emotional ones.